The night is quiet around you. Perhaps you are lying in bed, the weight of the day heavy on your shoulders, or perhaps you are simply sitting with a cup cooling in your hand, letting the noise of the world fade. The light is softer now, the air gentler. You are here, safe, with nowhere else you need to be. Let your breath slow. Let your eyes soften. The story will carry you, whether you follow each step or drift into sleep. History waits patiently. You do not need to hold it tightly. Tonight, we wander into a place half memory, half dream. A world of bronze shields and stone walls, of gods that walk among mortals, of poets whose voices still echo across 3,000 years. This is Troy, the city at the edge of the Aegean, and the war that may or may not have been. Close your eyes if you wish, and step with me. What does it mean when myth lingers like history, and history hides like myth? And don't worry, you won't need armor for this journey. The sandals will do. If quiet history like this helps you rest or wander, consider subscribing. It lets this small corner of calm keep growing. And if you're still awake, share your time and place below. I'd love to know who's listening tonight. Now take a breath and follow the torchlight into the city at the sea's edge. The shoreline curves where the waters of the Aegean meet the land of Anatolia. Ships come and go, their sails swelling like the bellies of seabirds, their hulls creaking with goods from distant ports. You stand where earth meets water, the smell of salt sharp in your nose, and you lift your gaze to see it, the city of Troy. It rises from the plain like a crown of stone. Walls encircle it, thick and high, their foundations sunk deep into the soil, their towers piercing sky. Gates are heavy, carved with patterns that catch light of the setting sun. Inside, roofs of mud brick cluster close, streets narrow and winding, smoke curling from hearths. Above all, the citadel stands, proud and watchful, the palace of kings who claim this place as heart of their world. Troy is not just city, it is prize. Its location is gift and burden both. To the west lies the Aegean, dotted with islands, its waters busy with Greek ships. To the east lies the strait we now call the Dardanelles, gateway to Black Sea, where grain, timber, and gold flow south. Troy sits where these currents meet, controlling passage, taxing trade, enriching itself on the flow of wealth. Whoever holds Troy holds key to a world of exchange. And so its walls are not merely stone, they are symbols of power, guardians of treasure, promises of endurance. You walk along its outer wall, hand brushing rough stone cool in evening air. The stones are large, some taller than you, their edges weathered by wind, their surfaces pressed by centuries. You imagine masons placing them, straining with ropes and levers, sweat dripping, voices shouting. Each stone is more than labor, it is statement. This city is meant to last. Inside the gates, life is alive. Merchants call out in markets, their stalls piled with amphorae of oil, baskets of figs, jars of honey. Potters shape clay into jars, their wheels spinning, their hands slick with mud. Weavers work at looms, threads bright as flowers. Children run barefoot, chasing each other between alleys, laughter ringing. Soldiers drill in courtyards, their shields bronze, their spears long, their movements sharp. Priests chant in temples, smoke rising from altars, prayers murmured to gods who listen, or perhaps do not. You pass into palace grounds, columns rise, painted once in bright colors, though faded now, their capitals carved with patterns like waves. The throne room smells of incense, of oil burning in bronze lamps. A king sits upon seat of wood and ivory, a circlet of gold at his brow. Courtiers stand beside him, scribes ready with styluses and clay, guards stern with spears. He listens to disputes, gives judgment, sends envoys, plans feasts. His rule is not only of city but of trade, of diplomacy, of survival in a world where neighbors hunger for wealth. Troy is old even now. Its roots go back generations, built layer upon layer, each new city rising on ruins of the last. Fires have burned here before, earthquakes shaken these walls, invaders tested these gates, yet each time Troy rises again, rebuilt, reborn, stronger. The ground beneath your feet holds centuries of memory, each layer whispering of people who lived, worked, dreamed. But tonight, it feels eternal. The lamps burn in windows, the voices carry through streets, the sea laps steady at shore. To live in Troy is to believe in endurance, in strength of stone and will. To outsiders, it is wealth to be envied. To Greeks across sea, it is challenge to be tested. To poets yet unborn, it will be legend to be sung. You linger at wall as stars begin to glow. The sky deepens, the air cools, torches flicker on towers. The guards pace slowly, their eyes watchful. Beyond walls, plain stretches silent, fields swaying with wind. Farther still, the sea darkens, its waves catching last glimmers of day. Somewhere across those waters, ships gather, heroes prepare, omens are read. Somewhere already, the story of war is stirring. But here, within Troy, life continues. Women fetch water from wells, men share wine in courtyards, elders tell stories by lamplight, children yawn, their eyes heavy, their heads resting on mothers' shoulders. The city is alive, unaware that it stands on edge of immortality. For soon poets will sing of this place. They will tell of goddesses and judgments, of loves that burn and betray, of kings and warriors whose names will echo forever. They will tell of siege that lasts 10 years, of horse of wood that hides destruction, of flames that swallow walls. They will tell of Troy not as city of trade, but as stage of fate. And yet, as you stand here breathing air heavy with sea salt and hearth smoke, Troy is real, not myth. Its walls are stone, its people flesh, its wealth hard-earned. It is neither story nor dream, but city alive with voices. That is the paradox of Troy, that it is both history and legend, both earth and song. The night deepens, the torches on walls sway, the stars thicken overhead, the sea sighs steady against shore. You feel weight of time pressing here, the quiet before storm, the breath before story begins. The Trojan War waits still, in memory, in myth. But tonight, Troy stands, strong and proud, a city at the edge of sea, unaware of how eternal its fall will be. And you stand with it, listening, watching, waiting, as the story prepares to unfold. The city of Troy still glimmers in your mind, its walls tall against the sea. But when you step away from the plain, when the centuries pass and the ruins sink into earth, something remains, not in stone, but in sound. The voice of a poet, a song carried through ages, Homer's song. You sit now not in a marketplace or palace, but by a fire. The night is older, the room quiet. A man with long hair and a staff begins to chant. His eyes are dim, perhaps blind, yet his voice carries fire. He sings in Greek, his verses rolling like waves, steady, rhythmic, each line flowing into the next. Around him, listeners lean forward, their faces lit by flame, their hearts caught in his story. This is the Iliad. This is the Odyssey. Two poems vast as sea, deep as memory. In the Iliad, Homer does not sing of all 10 years of war. He chooses only a moment, a slice of wrath and sorrow, the rage of Achilles, the quarrel with Agamemnon, the death of Patroclus, the duel with Hector. It is not whole war but window into it, showing human heart beneath clash of bronze. You hear it in his rhythm. Sing, O goddess, the anger of Achilles, son of Peleus, that brought countless ills upon the Achaeans. The words fall like hammer on bronze. The story begins, not with city or strategy, but with emotion, anger, stubborn, consuming. Achilles' wrath drives the tale, shaping destiny. Through it, Homer shows not just battles but cost of pride, the fragility of life, the weight of fate. Homer's war is not silent. Shields clash, spears pierce, chariots rattle across dust, yet always the focus is on faces. A warrior falls, and Homer names him, tells of his homeland, his parents, his children left behind. Even in death, each man has dignity, a life remembered in verse. The war becomes not faceless slaughter, but tapestry of humanity, each thread cut yet preserved in song. And above all, Gods walk among mortals. Athena whispers courage into warrior's ear. Apollo guides arrow to its mark. Zeus weighs fates on golden scales. The line between divine and human blurs. Every victory, every loss, touched by hand of Olympus. The war becomes stage where gods play, mortals struggle, destiny unfolds. When Homer turns to the Odyssey, the war is already over. Troy has burned, its walls fallen, its king slain. But the story lingers, in Journey Home of Odysseus. 10 years of wandering, of storms and monsters, of loss and longing. The war is background, but its echoes shape every island, every trial. Troy's ashes cling to Odysseus' cloak, even as he sails far. You sit among listeners, and you hear their breath catch. They know these names: Achilles, Hector, Odysseus, Helen. They know them not as history, but as kin, as archetypes, as symbols. Homer's voice makes them immortal, even centuries later, even now, when we speak of Troy, it is Homer's verses we remember. But who was Homer? Some say one man, a blind poet of Ionia, living in 8th century BCE. Others say many voices, a tradition of bards weaving stories over generations. Perhaps Homer was not one, but chorus. Perhaps the poems were sung long before they were written, carried on lips of singers who roamed from town to town, from hall to hall. You imagine such a bard sitting in smoky hall, lyre in hand, chanting to rhythm of strings. The warriors nod, remembering their own battles. The women sigh, remembering their own losses. Children listen wide-eyed, dreaming of heroes. The song is not just entertainment, it is memory, teaching, identity. It tells people who they are, where they come from, what matters in life and death. For in Homer's song, values are carved: honor, courage, loyalty, hospitality. To fight bravely is to live forever. To betray guest is to invite ruin. To show compassion, even to enemy, is to touch divinity. These lessons weave into culture, guiding lives long after war fades. You pause, and you think, was Troy real? Did such a war happen? Homer does not answer. His verses are not history, but myth, embroidered with gods and fate. Yet they are also filled with details: chariots and shields, spears and sacrifices, councils and camps that ring true of Bronze Age. They preserve memory, blurred but persistent, like dream half remembered on waking. Generations pass, and still Homer's voice endures. Greeks memorize his verses, recite them in schools, copy them onto papyrus. Rhapsodes perform them at festivals, each line etched deeper into memory of civilization. Romans adopt them too, shaping their own myths in shadow of Troy. And centuries later, across seas and ages, his words still echo. You walk through ruins of Troy in your imagination, and you hear Homer's voice rising among stones. The walls may be broken, but song remains, flowing like river through time. The Iliad does not end with victory, but with sorrow, with Hector's funeral, with quiet grief. The Odyssey does not end with endless wandering, but with return, with home regained, though scarred by absence. Together they form circle of war and aftermath, of loss and endurance. They are not merely poems, they are mirrors of human life. You lean back in the quiet. The fire flickers low, the bard's voice fades. Yet the images remain: Achilles fierce, Hector noble, Odysseus cunning, Helen radiant and tragic. You feel weight of history, even if myth, pressing close, and you wonder what lies beneath the song. Stone or story, truth or dream. The night deepens, the stars wheel above, the song lingers still, soft as lullaby, strong as bronze. And so we step onward, from Homer's immortal voice to the myths that feed it. The judgment of Paris, the spark that lit the war of wars. The story of Troy does not begin with walls or ships, but with an apple, a single piece of fruit, golden and shining, rolling across a banquet table. In its gleam lies vanity, rivalry, and the spark of war. You stand at a wedding feast, not of mortals, but of gods. The great hall of Olympus glows with divine light, its tables laden with ambrosia and nectar, its air filled with music. Every deity of power and beauty is present, their laughter ringing, their robes shimmering, their crowns glittering like stars. All are invited, save one, Eris, goddess of strife. But Eris does not stay away. She arrives, unbidden, her steps sharp, her eyes sly. In her hand, she carries the apple, polished and radiant, inscribed with 3 words, "To the fairest." She tosses it onto the table, and it clatters among goblets and plates. The music falters, the laughter fades, all eyes turn to the apple. 3 goddesses step forward: Hera, queen of gods, Athena, goddess of wisdom and war, and Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. Each claims the apple, each insists she is fairest. Their voices rise, their tempers flare, the hall trembles with divine pride. Zeus himself is asked to judge, but even King of Gods hesitates. He knows that whichever choice he makes, enmity will follow. And so he does what rulers often do when faced with perilous choice. He passes it on. He sends the apple and the question down to earth, to be decided not by God but by man. You walk now from Olympus to slopes of Mount Ida, near Troy. The air is warm, the grass high, the flocks grazing. A young shepherd tends his sheep, his face calm, his figure graceful. He is Paris, son of King Priam of Troy, though raised apart, for prophecy once foretold he would bring ruin to city. Left on mountain as infant he survived, found by herdsmen, raised in quiet. Now he lives among hills, his days simple, his life untroubled. Until now, 3 goddesses appear before him, their presence radiant, their beauty overwhelming. Hera's crown glitters, her eyes commanding. Athena's armor gleams, her spear tall. Aphrodite's robe flows like dawn, her smile soft, her gaze alluring. They stand in circle, the apple between them, their voices insistent. Choose, who is fairest? Paris trembles. How can mortal decide what gods cannot? To choose one is to offend 2. To refuse is impossible. He hesitates, his heart pounding. And then, one by one, they offer bribes. Hera promises power, kingship over Asia, dominion vast, glory unending. Choose her, and he will be master of empires. Athena promises wisdom and victory, skill in war, brilliance in thought, triumph in every contest. Choose her, and no rival will best him. Aphrodite promises love, the most beautiful woman in the world, as his own. Choose her, and he will have Helen of Sparta, radiant beyond compare, desired by all, destined to be his. Paris looks from one to other, power tempts, wisdom dazzles, but love stirs his heart. He lifts the apple, his hand trembling, and gives it to Aphrodite. The decision is made. The seeds of war are sown. You stand with Paris as Aphrodite smiles, her eyes triumphant, her hand resting on his. Hera turns away, her face cold, her wrath simmering. Athena lowers her spear, her lips tight with fury. 2 goddesses leave in anger, one stays in triumph. Paris breathes, relieved, unaware that choice will bind him to destiny heavier than stone. For Helen is no ordinary woman. She is daughter of Zeus, born of swan and queen, her beauty so great it drew kings and princes from across Greece to court her. To avoid strife her father's house bound all suitors by oath, to honor whichever man she chose, to defend him if ever wronged. She chose Menelaus, king of Sparta. Their marriage bound her to throne, her beauty bound Greece to promise. And now by Paris's choice, that bond will be broken. You walk across sea in imagination to halls of Sparta. Helen moves among columns, her hair dark as night, her eyes bright as dawn. Menelaus sits beside her, stern but proud. Guests feast, servants pour wine, flutes play. Into this hall will come Paris, guided by Aphrodite, emboldened by promise. He will see Helen, she will see him, and fate will tighten its grip. Was it love at first sight, or abduction cloaked as romance? Some say Helen went willingly, her heart stirred by passion, by destiny. Others say Paris stole her, deceived or forced her, tearing her from hearth and husband. The poets disagree, the stories shift, but all agree She left Sparta with Paris, and with her departure war ignited. You return to Mount Ida in thought. Paris still tends his flocks, unaware of how heavy his choice is. A golden apple, a promise of love, so simple, so sweet, and yet behind it lies wrath of goddesses, oath of kings, fate of cities. The judgment of Paris is small spark, yet sparks light fires. Soon ships will gather, kings will arm, Troy will tremble. But for now, the mountain is quiet, the sheep graze, the air soft, Paris smiles, thinking only of beauty promised. The night deepens, as you sit with story. You feel weight of choice, the paradox of fate. How fragile is peace, how easily broken by pride, by desire, by single decision. How wars can be born not from hunger or land, but from apple, from promise, from heart's longing. And you wonder, was it ever so? Did shepherd truly choose among goddesses? Or is it poet's way of telling truth that behind wars of men lie rivalries of gods, that behind history lie stories we tell to explain it? The torches burn low in your mind. The apple gleams once more, then fades. The goddess smiles. The shepherd bows, the mountain exhales, and the story moves forward, toward Helen's fateful departure, toward ships on sea, toward war, eternal, in memory. The apple has been given, the promise made. Aphrodite's smile lingers on the slopes of Mount Ida, her promise still warm in Paris's heart. Yet, promises, once spoken by gods, take shape in the world of men, and so Paris leaves the quiet hills of Troy, his flocks behind him, and sails toward a destiny that will unmake peace. You walk with him now as he steps onto a ship. The deck is narrow, the sail of woven wool billows in Aegean wind. The prow creaks against waves. The sea opens before him, wide and shimmering. His heart beats with eagerness, his mind filled with image of Helen, beauty unrivaled, voice soft, eyes brighter than dawn. He does not think of oath sworn by her suitors, nor of wrath that will follow. He thinks only of love promised by goddess, sweet and irresistible. Across the water lies Sparta. Sparta's halls are not adorned like those of Troy, but strong, plain, built for endurance. Its kings do not seek splendor, but power, their lives austere, their walls sturdy. Yet within them moves Helen, queen of Sparta, the woman whose beauty poets will compare to flowers, to dawn, to flame. She walks among columns, her hair gleaming, her voice soft as song, her presence radiant. Menelaus, her husband, rules beside her, broad-shouldered, stern, proud of his throne and his pride. Paris enters their halls as guest. Hospitality is sacred law among Greeks, the bond between host and stranger, honored above all. To betray guest is shame eternal, to harm host is curse upon household. Paris bows, Menelaus greets. Helen pours wine into cup. Words are exchanged, gifts offered, laughter shared. All seems peace, as custom requires. But beneath the courtesy flows something dangerous. Paris's eyes linger too long on Helen's face. Helen feels warmth of his gaze, hears sweetness in his voice. Some say Aphrodite herself breathes charm into air, weaving invisible threads that bind Helen's heart to Paris's. Others say Helen was willing, restless in marriage, yearning for passion. Still others say she was deceived, taken against her will, her cries ignored. The truth, like smoke, shifts in every telling. You sit in the hall and watch. The lamps burn low, the wine dark in cups. The voice is softer. Paris leans close, his words honeyed. Helen listens, her hand brushing his, her eyes uncertain yet drawn. Menelaus turns away, trusting in law of hospitality, unaware that in his trust lies betrayal. At night, the sea whispers. Paris leads Helen to ship waiting at shore. The sky is dark, the moon silver, the waves lap gentle against wood. Helen hesitates, her breath catching. Is this escape or abduction? Is it love or theft? The poets disagree, the truth hidden, but step she does, onto ship, beside Paris, away from Sparta. The sail rises, the ropes strain, the ship moves. The coast of Greece fades behind, the mountains dim in distance. Menelaus wakes to find his bed empty, his queen gone. Fury fills his chest. Grief twists his heart. He calls to his brother, Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, and together they summon the oath sworn by all Helen's suitors to defend her marriage, to avenge her theft. Across Greece, kings and warriors prepare to honor their vow. But for now, you are at sea with Paris and Helen. The night is cool, the stars bright, the waves rock the ship gently, as though lulling lovers to sleep. Paris gazes at Helen, triumphant, enthralled. Helen gazes at horizon, her face unreadable. Did she long for this, or regret it already? No poet answers, no truth survives. The ship reaches Troy. The gates open, the people cheer. Priam, king of Troy, embraces his son, returned from voyage, his heart glad, his arms open. He welcomes Helen into halls, marvels at her beauty, calls her daughter. The Trojans rejoice, seeing in her gift of love, proof of Paris's charm. They do not yet see shadow gathering beyond sea, the fleet preparing, the war to come. You walk through Troy with Helen. The streets are alive with wonder, the markets bright, the temples glowing with incense. Women whisper at her beauty, men marvel at her grace. She walks with Paris at her side, queen of Sparta no more, queen of Troy to be. Yet in her steps is weight, in her eyes is question, for behind beauty lies burden, behind love lies war. Far away in Greece, Agamemnon sharpens swords, Odysseus plots, Achilles polishes armor. The kings who once courted Helen gather again, no longer as suitors, but as allies. The oath binds them. Pride drives them, desire for vengeance burns in their hearts. Ships are built, sails woven, armies gathered. The sea will darken with oars, the beaches thunder with feet, the air ring with war cries. But for now, Troy is calm. The sun sets golden on its walls. The sea laps steady at its shore. The people sing in courtyards. Paris smiles. Helen walks beside him. Priam blesses them. The city does not yet see that in her beauty lies its doom. You pause at Troy's gates, looking out at horizon. The sea is vast, empty still, but you feel its storm gathering beyond sight, fleet preparing beyond waves. History often begins not with battle, but with choice. A shepherd on a mountain, a goddess's promise, a queen stepping onto a ship. The night deepens. The torches sway on walls. The stars scatter across sky. Within halls, Paris and Helen rest, their fate sealed. Beyond, Greece stirs, vengeance waking. The war of wars is set, its first threads woven. And you wonder, was it ever so? Did Helen truly sail? Did Paris truly steal? Or is it story to explain war of trade, of power, of pride? Was it love that burned Troy, or hunger for wealth, or envy of cities' gate upon world's trade? Myth and history blur, as always. Yet the story lingers, because within it lies truth not of fact but of heart. Desire can move nations, love, or its shadow, can topple walls. The sea sighs, the city sleeps, the ships are not yet seen. But soon, very soon, and you walk on, from Helen's fateful departure, to the gathering of heroes, the greatest host the Greek world would ever know. The night has passed over Sparta. Menelaus wakes to emptiness, to absence in his hall, to a bed where Helen no longer lies. The truth is revealed. His queen is gone, stolen or persuaded, carried across the wine-dark sea by Paris of Troy. Grief hardens into rage, rage stiffens into oath, and an oath once sworn by kings of Greece cannot be broken without shame. You stand now in the halls of Mycenae, where Menelaus seeks counsel of his elder brother, Agamemnon. The walls are massive, their stones cyclopean, their gates guarded by lions carved in relief. This is seat of power greater than Sparta's, and Agamemnon rules with hand both firm and cold. When Menelaus tells his tale, when he demands vengeance, Agamemnon listens, nods, and agrees. For insult to his brother is insult to him, and insult to him is wound to his pride, and pride among kings is sharper than any sword. But Agamemnon knows this is no small quarrel. To march on Troy, cross the Aegean, to face walls that gleam like mountain cliffs. This will require more than Sparta, more than Mycenae. It will require all of Greece, and so heralds are sent, messengers riding across hills and islands, calling kings and princes to fulfill their vow. Years ago, when Helen was of age, her suitors came from every corner of Greece, princes and lords, warriors and kings, each bearing gifts, each seeking her hand. Tyndareus, her foster father, feared strife. He made them swear a sacred oath, to defend the chosen husband, to avenge any wrong done to him, to unite in arms if ever Helen were taken. They agreed, bound by word and honor, each man swearing by gods above. When Helen chose Menelaus, they dispersed, but the oath lingered like seed. Now that seed bursts into flame. You walk among halls and fields as messengers arrive. One by one, the heroes of Greece are summoned. First, there is Odysseus of Ithaca. His island is small, rocky, its fields narrow, its flocks modest. He is no great king in wealth, but he is rich in cunning. His mind is quick, his words clever, his plans subtle as tides. Yet when summons comes, Odysseus hesitates. He has a newborn son, Telemachus. He does not wish to leave hearth for war across the sea. To avoid the call, he feigns madness, yoking ox and donkey together, ploughing sand instead of soil. But Palamedes, another clever one, lays infant Telemachus before his plough. Odysseus swerves to save child, revealing sanity, exposing ruse. Bound by oath, he must go, his heart heavy, his wit sharp. He joins. Then comes Achilles, son of Peleus, and sea goddess Thetis. He is young still, yet unmatched in strength, swift of foot, shining like flame in battle. His mother, knowing prophecy, hides him away, for she has heard that if he goes to Troy, his life will be short, though his fame eternal. Disguised among maidens on island of Skyros, Achilles hopes to avoid summons. But Odysseus comes, sets gifts before the maidens, jewels, garments, and among them a spear. While others reach for silks, Achilles his hand seizes weapon. His disguise undone, his fate sealed, he too must sail. Ajax comes, towering giant of Salamis, massive shield in hand. Courage, steady as stone. Diomedes comes, bold king of Argos, fierce and eager. Nestor comes, old and wise, his counsel valued though his limbs are weary. Idomeneus comes from Crete, bringing ships swift and strong. Agamemnon himself readies fleet vast as horizon. Soldiers gathered, arms forged, sails woven. You stand on shore of Aulis where ships assemble. The beach groans with weight of timber and bronze, with cries of men, with neighing of horses. Black hulls line coast, prows painted bright, oars stacked like wings. They say more than 1,000 ships gather, enough to darken sea, enough to shake Troy itself. The heroes walk among them, their armor gleaming, their cloaks bright. Each man famed, each man proud, each man eager to test his worth. But the gods, as always, demand their price. The winds do not blow. The fleet sits stranded, its sails limp, its oars idle. Days pass, then weeks. Food spoils, tempers flare. The seers are consulted, their voices grave. They say Artemis, goddess of hunt, is angered, her winds stilled in punishment. Only sacrifice will appease her. Only blood of Agamemnon's own daughter, Iphigenia, will open the way. You stand in the camp as the choice is made. Agamemnon weeps, rages, hesitates, but pride wins. Pride in command, pride in vengeance, pride in oath. Iphigenia is brought, her eyes wide, her steps reluctant. In some tellings she is slain, her life taken to free fleet. In others, the goddess saves her, replacing her with deer, carrying her away to safety. Whichever tale is true, the effect is same. The winds rise, the sails fill, the fleet departs. The sea darkens with oars, the sky thunders with cries. The Greeks sail eastward, across wine-dark waves, toward coast of Asia, toward city of Troy. The prows cut water, the sails swell, the men chant. Drums beat steady, hearts beat faster. Each man knows he sails not only for vengeance, but for glory. To fight at Troy is to live forever in story. To die at Troy is to be remembered. And as they sail, you look at each face. Odysseus, eyes calculating, mind weaving. Achilles, restless, burning for battle, unaware his fate nears. Ajax, steady, unshaken, shield vast as tower. Nestor, lips moving with counsel, voice old yet wise. Agamemnon, proud, commanding, his eyes set on conquest. Menelaus, grim, his heart still pierced by loss. Each man carries destiny, each man a thread in tapestry to be woven at Troy. The sea stretches vast, the horizon glimmers faint, behind them lies Greece, its villages empty of sons, its fields missing ploughs. Ahead lies Troy, still unaware, still proud, still alive. Between them lies where that will last 10 years, that will claim countless lives, that will echo through millennia. The night deepens, the stars scatter above, the ships drift like shadows, sails pale in starlight, oars dipping steady. You hear creak of wood, slap of water, murmur of men. The fleet moves unstoppable, bound by oath, driven by rage, guided by gods. And you wonder, was there ever such a fleet? Did 1,000 ships truly sail? Or is it memory of many raids, many wars gathered into one tale? Did kings truly gather for one woman? Or is it story masking hunger for Troy's wealth, its position at gates of trade? The truth is lost in mist. But the story endures. Heroes gather, ships launch, the sea bears them east, and in that image, shields shining, sails swelling, hearts burning, human imagination finds glory that outlives fact. The wind rises, the fleet surges forward, and you drift with it, carried across dark waves, toward high walls of Troy, toward gates that will stand against them, toward war that is both history and myth. The fleet is ready, the 1,000 ships of Greece, drawn up along the beach at Aulis, sway gently against the tide. Their prows jut forward like a forest of teeth, each painted with eyes or beasts, each waiting for wind. The air smells of pitch and salt, of new ropes and polished wood. Men murmur prayers to gods, women on shore weep, children cling to fathers, soon to vanish into horizon. The sacrifice has been made, the winds have risen, and now the sails are raised. White against blue, they catch the breath of Artemis, of Poseidon, of Zeus himself. The oars dip in rhythm, water splashing in steady cadence. The drums sound, and the voices of thousands lift into chant. Greece has loosed its vengeance upon the sea. You stand upon one deck, your hand upon rough wood. The salt spray cool against your face. Around you soldiers sit upon benches, their armor piled at their sides, their spears clattering as the ship rocks. Some stare forward, eager, their eyes bright with hunger for glory. Others look back, toward shore fading into mist, their faces heavy, their thoughts lingering on fields and hearths. Above all, the sea stretches endless. Homer called it wine dark, for in shifting light it glimmers not only blue, but purple, red, black. It is alive, restless, its waves swelling, its winds shifting. To sail is to trust, to gods, to oars, to courage. The journey is long. The fleet does not move as single arrow, but as swarm of vessels scattered, regrouping, scattered again. Some land upon islands, raiding, seizing supplies, testing swords upon weaker towns. Others are lost, blown astray, swallowed by storm. The sea takes as much as it gives. You walk among ships as they pause at island of Tenedos, near Troy's coast. Fires burn on beaches, smoke rising, pots boiling with fish and barley. The men stretch their legs, mend sails, sharpen blades. Priests slaughter animals, their blood steaming upon stones, their entrails red for omens. The seers proclaim favor, but their voices tremble, for gods are fickle. At night, the men sleep upon sand, the sky bright with stars. They dream of Helen, of Troy's towers, of battles yet to come. Some dream of glory songs sung, names remembered. Others dream of death, their bones bleaching beneath walls they have never seen. The dreams mingle with sound of surf, the hiss of waves upon shore. Among them, Achilles does not sleep. He walks alone, his armor gleaming faintly in starlight, his youth restless, his spirit burning. He knows prophecy, knows his fate, that if he fights at Troy, his life will be short, but his fame eternal. He is chosen already. Better a brief blaze than long shadow. He gazes toward east, toward Troy, unseen beyond horizon, and he hungers for immortality of memory. Odysseus too walks, his mind turning like wheels of chariot. He thinks not of brute force, but of plans, of tricks, of words. He knows Troy's walls are strong, its gates high, its people proud. He wonders already how to break them, how to twist fortune, how to outwit destiny. In his silence the first seeds of horse of wood may already lie, though 10 years will pass before they bloom. Nestor sits by fire, his voice old but steady, telling tales of wars long past, of heroes long dead. The young listen, eyes wide, hearing lessons in his words, courage in his tone. He binds them with story, reminding them they are not first nor last to fight, that glory and sorrow are eternal companions. The fleet moves again, sails swelling, oars dipping. Across Aegean they pass, island to island, coast to coast. The sun scorches by day, the stars guide by night. The constellations of Greece wheel above the hunter, the Pleiades, the bear. The men read them as map, the gods as signs. Yet not all is smooth. Storms rise sudden, black clouds rolling, lightning cracking. The sea heaves, ships toss, men cling to ropes, prayers spill from lips. Some vessels sink, swallowed in foam. Others drift astray, never reaching Troy, their men fated for wanderings forgotten by song. In later tales, these become foundations of colonies, distant echoes of war never fought. Still, enough remain, enough to darken sea, to blacken horizon, to shake hearts of Troy when they arrive. At last, the coast of Asia rises before them. The hills of the Troad, green and high, slope down to plains broad and fertile. Rivers gleam like silver threads, flowing toward sea. And there, upon height, walls of Troy gleam golden in sun. Towers proud, gates massive, the city stands, serene, unaware, or perhaps aware, that wave of bronze approaches. The Greeks land upon shore, their ships grinding into sand, their men leaping into surf, their cries loud, their shields clashing. Fires are lit, tents raised, trenches dug, a camp is made, vast as city itself, stretching across plain. The war has begun, though its end is far. You stand upon beach, the sun sets red, the air heavy with smoke, the men weary but restless. Beyond plain, Troy's walls rise, distant, glowing faint. The people within light lamps, sing songs, eat bread. They see fires of strangers upon shore. They hear faint cries of foreign tongues. They know storm has come. But for now, neither side strikes. The Greeks sharpen spears, the Trojans strengthen gates. The sea sighs, the stars glitter, the night deepens. The war waits, coiled like serpent, ready to spring. And you wonder, did such a fleet truly sail? Did 1,000 ships beach upon Troy's sand? Or is it dream of later poets, magnifying raids into epic, turning skirmish into saga? Archaeologists find ashes, walls burned, layers of city destroyed. Was it earthquake, invasion, or both? Was it one war or many, blended into myth? The answers blur, like horizon at dusk. Yet the image remains. Sails swelling, oars dipping, warriors chanting, coast rising, city waiting. It is enough to live forever, in story, even if history hides beneath. The night is long, but gentle. The sea is wide, but calm now. The fires upon beach flicker low, the torches upon walls burn faint. The war of Troy has begun, not yet in clash, but in waiting, in silence, heavy as fate. And you stand between shore and city, listening, watching, breathing, as the two worlds prepare to collide. The ships are beached upon the sand. Fires burn in Greek camp. Torches gleam along walls of Troy. Between them stretches plain of fate, wide and silent, waiting for clash that will last a decade. Yet before we speak of battle, we must look upon the city itself, the fortress that defies 1,000 ships, the crown of stone upon the Troad. You approach its walls as dusk deepens. They rise tall before you, cut from stone the colour of honey, their blocks massive, their joints tight. Some stones are so large you wonder how men raised them, whether giants once laboured here. The base is thick, unshakable, the top lined with battlements. Towers rise at intervals, square and solid, their heights commanding plain. Between them stretch gates, heavy with bronze, carved with figures of lions and horses. These are not mere defences, they are pride, statement of permanence. To live within Troy is to believe you are secure, chosen by gods, rooted in earth. Generations have built these walls, each adding stone, each repairing after quake or fire. The ground beneath holds layers of cities past, older Troys buried beneath newer, each wall built upon ruins of last. To stand here is to feel weight of centuries pressing upward, each layer whispering, we endured, we endure, still. You walk along ramparts. Guards pace slowly, spears in hand, shields upon arms. Their eyes scan plain. Watchfires of Greeks flicker in distance. They speak in low voices, some with pride, others with unease. They know Greeks are many, their ships countless, their heroes famed. Yet they trust walls, trust gods, trust destiny. Within gates, city hums. Markets still open, stalls piled with grain, oil, wine. Smiths hammer bronze into helmets, potters shape clay. Weavers twist wool into cloth. Children run laughing, their games echoing against stone. Women carry jars from wells, their voices singing in rhythm. Priests burn incense in temples, their prayers rising with smoke. Life does not stop for war, it continues, stubborn, defiant. At heart of city stands citadel, palace of Priam, king of Troy. Columns rise, halls stretch wide, courtyards paved with stone. Priam sits upon throne, carved of cedar, his beard white, his eyes heavy with years yet bright with wisdom. Around him stand his sons and daughters, 50 sons, many daughters, a family vast as dynasty itself. Among them Hector, his eldest, warrior of honour, protector of Troy, and Paris, whose choice has brought storm upon walls. You step into palace hall. Tapestries hang, showing horses swift, lions fierce, gods in council. Lamps burn with oil, casting glow upon bronze bowls. Upon carved thrones, servants move quietly, carrying bread, wine, roasted meat. Courtiers whisper, scribes press stylus into clay. Priam listens to counsel, his face grave. He knows Greeks gather beyond walls, yet he speaks not of fear, but of endurance. His city has stood centuries. It will stand still. Hector moves among people, his presence steady, his voice calm. He trains soldiers in courtyards, inspects chariots in stables, comforts mothers in markets. He is more than warrior. He is symbol of duty, of loyalty, of courage. Where Paris is charm, Hector is strength. Where Paris sought love, Hector bears weight of kingdom. You follow Hector through streets at dusk. Children wave, women bless, men salute. His armour gleams, his spear rests in hand. Yet his eyes soften when he sees his wife, Andromache, and their child. He bends, lifting boy, smiling. He is not only prince, not only warrior, but husband, father, man, and it is this that makes him beloved. Not his strength alone, but his humanity. Temples rise across city, their steps worn smooth by countless feet. The great temple of Athena towers, its columns high, its roof carved, its statue gleaming with eyes of stone. Priests chant, women weave robe for goddess, incense curls in air. They believe Athena guards them, though she also aids Greeks. The gods are never wholly loyal, their favour shifts like wind. Still Trojans pray, trusting divinity to shield them. You climb tower at Scaean Gate, highest of all. From here, plain stretches wide, the sea glimmers faint, The Greek camp burns with countless fires. It looks as if stars have fallen upon earth. Each fire a beacon, each smoke a thread into sky. You count them, and you shiver, yet walls beneath you feel strong, thick, eternal. You breathe, and pride rises again. But walls are not only stone, they are people's belief. And belief is fragile. Already whispers spread. Greeks are many, gods divided, omens unclear. Some speak of returning Helen, of ending war before it begins. Others scoff, calling such talk cowardice. Paris defends his choice, his love, his right. Priam hesitates, torn between father's pride and king's duty. Hector warns, but obeys. The city is strong, yet divided within. You wander into quieter street. Old women sit weaving, their voices telling stories of past. They remember older wars, older fires, older ruins beneath these stones. They know city has fallen before, risen again. They wonder if it will fall once more. Their words are soft, their eyes far. You realize walls may be strong, but memory knows they are not eternal. The night deepens. The fires of Greek camp glow brighter, the stars shimmer above. The air cools. Within Troy, lamps burn in windows, songs drift from courtyards. Laughter echoes faint. It is city alive, not myth, not ruin. To its people, it is home, worth any war, any cost. They do not yet see flames in future, cries in night, smoke against dawn. They see only walls strong, gods near, family close. And you wonder, did such walls truly stand? Archaeologists dig at Hisarlik, uncovering layers upon layers of Troy. Walls thick, gates heavy, towers high, cities built, burned, rebuilt. One of them, Troy 7, perhaps shows signs of fire, of siege. Pots broken, bones scattered, stones blackened. Was this Homer's Troy? Was this city of Priam? Or another, older, folded into song? The truth is buried in soil, but story rises in song. The walls of Troy, whether stone or verse, endure in memory. They are symbol of pride, of resistance, of beauty doomed. You stand upon rampart one last time. The night is quiet, the air cool, the fires of Greeks distant but steady. The city sleeps, unaware, or perhaps aware, that its story is already legend. The war has not yet begun. The walls still stand, but soon heroes will clash upon plain. Gods will meddle, wrath will blaze, sorrow will fall. For now, Troy endures, proud and strong, a city of stone and spirit, and you stand with it, listening, watching, waiting. The Greeks have landed. The ships lie beached along the shore, their prows drawn up like teeth biting into sand. The plain stretches between them and Troy, wide and dry, broken by riverbeds and dusty fields. The city's walls rise tall at the far edge, gates glimmering, towers watchful. For a moment silence hangs, as if sea and land both hold their breath. Then the war begins. At first it is fury, raids upon villages, near Troy, fields burned, herds stolen, people carried off. The Greeks test their strength, proving to Trojans they have come not as guests but as storm. Skirmishes break upon plain, chariots racing, spears flying, bronze clashing against bronze. The cries of men echo across rivers, mingling with neighs of horses, with drums of feet upon dust. Yet Troy does not fall. Its walls hold firm, its gates remain shut, its warriors brave. Hector leads charges from gates, his chariot wheels rattling, his spear flashing, his voice like trumpet. The Trojans surge forth, clash with Greeks, then retreat behind walls once more. The cycle repeats. Attack, retreat, defend. Day after day, year after year, you walk the plain as seasons turn. Grass withers, regrows, withers again. Fires blacken ground, rain washes it. Fires return. The bones of fallen lie buried shallow, their names forgotten, save in song. The Greeks camp by ships, their huts built of wood and reeds, their trenches dug deep. Smoke rises daily from their fires, carrying smell of roasting meat, of boiling grain. Priests slaughter goats, read omens, pray to gods. The Trojans within walls light their own sacrifices. their prayers rising to same gods. The gods listen, and they choose sides, or pretend to. Athena favors Greeks, guiding spears, stiffening shields. Apollo aids Trojans, sending plague upon Greek camp, turning arrows true. Hera schemes, Poseidon rages, Zeus watches with scales of fate. Their quarrels mirror those of men, their power bending war this way and that. Yet even gods cannot end it. The war drags on. In Greek camp, quarrels rise. Agamemnon commands as high king, yet pride burns among princes. He seizes Breezis, a captive woman awarded to Achilles, and Achilles' wrath explodes. He withdraws from battle, his tent closed, his spear idle, his voice silent. Without him, Greeks falter. The Trojans press harder, Hector driving them back to very ships. Flames lick hulls, despair grips hearts. Only when Patroclus dons Achilles' armor, only when he falls beneath Hector's spear, does Achilles return, his rage now boundless. But that moment lies ahead. For now, the war is long stalemate. Each side suffers, each side endures. You walk through Troy at dawn. The streets are quieter than before, markets thinner, grain grows scarce, fear thicker. Yet still life continues. Women grind wheat, weaving continues. Children play in alleys. In temple of Athena, priestesses light lamps, chanting prayers for protection. The city does not surrender. It endures. On plain, warriors duel. They are not faceless armies, but men whose names poets remember. One fights, and before he falls, Homer tells you his father's name, his homeland, the wife awaiting him. Death comes, yet dignity lingers. The war is not only clash of blades, it is endless roll of lives given, each remembered for a breath. You hear Nestor's counsel, old but wise, urging Greeks to unity. You see Ajax, towering, holding line when all else fails. You see Diomedes, fierce, wounding even gods in his fury. You see Odysseus, words sharp, guiding counsels, shaping plans. Each man shines, each man falters, but none end war. Years pass. 10, say poets. 10 years of blood and waiting, of siege without victory. Was it truly 10? Or is 10 symbol of completeness, of story made whole? Perhaps war was shorter, or longer. Perhaps it was not one war, but many. Raids remembered as single siege. Yet memory insists. 10 years beneath Troy's walls, 10 years that shaped heroes, 10 years that burned city into myth. You wander Greek camp by night. Fires burn low, men sleep upon mats, their shields propped beside them. Some dream of glory, others of home. Achilles lies intent, restless, his wrath simmering. Odysseus plans, his mind turning. Agamemnon broods, his pride unbowed. Outside waves lap steady, stars glitter above. War sleeps, but lightly. Inside Troy, Hector cradles his son, speaking softly to Andromache. He knows fate waits that city may fall, yet he fights still, for family, for honor, for duty. His courage shines not in certainty of victory, but in resolve to defend, though defeat looms. His story, more than any, will echo. And always, Helen walks through halls. Some say she regrets, her eyes downcast, her heart heavy. Some say she loves still, her presence balm to Paris. Some say she weaves upon loom, creating scenes of war even as it rages outside. Her beauty is both cause and curse, her presence both gift and burden. To Greeks, she is reason for war. To Trojans, she is queen. To poets, she is eternal question. Was she prize, victim, or cause? The years grind on, the stalemate continues. Walls hold, ships endure, men die, gods meddle. The war becomes not event, but state of being. Children are born in its shadow. Men grow old, fighting it. Women age, waiting for it to end. The world narrows to Troy, to plain, to sea. You pause at edge of plain as sun sets red. The dust glows, the walls gleam, the sea sighs. You feel weariness in air, the endlessness of it, the futility, yet also you feel something else, inevitability. for wars, however long, end, and this one, though stalemated, coils toward climax. The night deepens. Fires flicker upon beach, lamps glow within walls, stars wheel above. Silence spreads, heavy, broken only by distant call of owl. The war waits, patient, relentless, eternal. And you wonder, was there truly such a stalemate? Did Greeks really linger 10 years upon foreign shore? Could army sustain such length? Could city endure such siege? Or is it memory stretched, a decade chosen for story's symmetry? The archaeologists find ruins of Troy burned, yet no proof of decade-long war. Perhaps truth lies somewhere between a conflict real, magnified by song, reshaped into myth. The stalemate holds, the walls still stand, the ships still wait, the heroes still breathe, for now. But soon, wrath will blaze, duels will decide, and city's fate will near. The war has stretched long upon the plain. The walls of Troy stand unbroken. The Greek ships remain beached upon shore. Men fight, men fall. Seasons turn, yet still neither side claims victory. And into this weary balance comes wrath, sharp as flame, sudden as storm, the wrath of Achilles. You walk into Greek camp at dawn. The sea is calm, the air cool, the huts of warriors, smoky with last embers of night. Agamemnon, High King, sits in council, his pride raw, his authority challenged. For plague has struck camp, sent by Apollo, god angered by insult. Chryses, a Trojan priest, had come seeking daughter held captive by Agamemnon. When denied, he prayed, and God answered with arrows of disease, striking men down, filling air with fever. At last, Agamemnon yields, returning girl to her father, but his pride burns, and he seeks another prize to prove his power. He seizes Briseis, a woman awarded to Achilles as spoil of war. With this act, insult becomes wound. Achilles, fiercest warrior, feels honor stripped, pride scorned. His anger blazes. He confronts Agamemnon, words sharp, voices raised, fists clenched. The council trembles at their fury, but Agamemnon will not yield, and Achilles will not bow. Achilles withdraws. He refuses to fight. His tent closes, his armor lies idle. His spear rests unused. The Greeks, deprived of their mightiest champion, falter. The Trojans, emboldened, press harder, their chariots thundering across plain, their arrows flying true. Hector leads them, his voice urging, his arm striking. The Greeks are driven back to very edge of sea, their ships nearly aflame. You walk through camp as despair spreads. Warriors curse Agamemnon, plead with Achilles, yet he remains unmoved. He sits apart, his heart burning, his mind storming. His mother, Thetis of the sea, rises from waves to comfort him. She promises aid, and she goes to Zeus, king of gods, begging him to tilt scales against Greeks, to show them their need of Achilles. Zeus agrees, and fate bends. The Trojans surge, they storm Greek lines, they burn ships, they slay champions. The plain shakes with chariots, the dust rises like smoke, the cries echo like thunder. The Greeks cry out, but without Achilles their strength falters. Among them, Patroclus, dearest companion of Achilles, cannot bear sight. He pleads with friend, let him wear Achilles' armor, let him lead Myrmidons, let him drive Trojans back. Achilles, torn, agrees, but warns, do not press too far, do not scale walls, do not tempt fate, drive them back, then return. Patroclus dons armor shining, the crest of Achilles upon his helm. To Trojans he seems Achilles himself, fire returned. They falter, they flee, driven back by fury. Ships are saved, Greeks breathe again. But Patroclus, in heat of triumph, presses too far. He scales walls, he clashes with Hector, and there beneath Troy's towers, fate closes. Hector strikes, spear-piercing. Patroclus falls, his body lies heavy, his breath fades, his eyes dim. The Trojans seize armor, stripping it as spoil. The Greeks fight for body, dragging it back with blood and tears. In camp, Achilles hears, and his wrath, erupts anew. Grief sharper than sword, sorrow deeper than sea. Patroclus, his other self, his dearest friend, his brother of soul, lies dead. Achilles falls to ground, his cry rising, tearing air, echoing across plain. His mother comes, weeping, bringing new armor forged by Hephaestus, god of fire. Upon shield glimmers world itself, stars and cities, wars and dances, life and circle eternal. Achilles rises. He dons armor bright as sun, he lifts spear tall as tree, his wrath boundless. He seeks Hector, he seeks vengeance. You walk beside him as he strides across plain, his eyes blazing, his heart consumed. Greeks rally behind, their courage renewed. Trojans see him and tremble, for they know doom walks. The clash is fierce, but Achilles cuts through, spear flashing, shield ringing. His wrath is storm, unstoppable. Men fall before him like wheat beneath scythe. At last he faces Hector before walls. Andromache watches from tower, her hands trembling, her heart breaking. Priam cries from gate, his voice pleading. But Hector stands, duty binding him, honor driving him. He faces Achilles, his spear ready, his eyes steady. The duel is swift, fierce, terrible. Hector throws, Achilles deflects. Achilles strikes, spear-piercing Hector's throat. The Prince of Troy falls, his breath fading, his voice begging for burial. Achilles refuses, his wrath too hot. He lashes body to chariot, drags it round walls, dust rising, cries echoing. The Trojans weep, the Greeks exult, the gods themselves recoil, for wrath, unchecked, is not only fire, it is ruin. Achilles mourns Patroclus still. He holds funeral games, honouring friend with contests of strength, speed and skill. Yet grief clings, wrath still smoulders. Hector's body lies dishonoured, dragged, defiled, until Priam, old king, braves camp by night. He enters Achilles' tent, kneels, kisses hands that slew his son. He begs for mercy, for pity, for burial. And Achilles, seeing father in tears, seeing his own father in mind, softens. He weeps, he lifts Priam, he yields. Hector's body is returned, Troy mourns, grief shared. You stand in silence, feeling weight of it. The wrath of Achilles is not only rage, it is lesson. Pride wounds, grief burns, vengeance consumes. Yet even in wrath compassion may return, brief but real. The war pauses, funerals are held, sorrow fills air. And you wonder, was there truly such a man? Was there warrior unmatched, wrathful, tragic? Or is Achilles symbol of war itself, its glory and its grief, its fury and its futility? Archaeologists find armor, spears, graves of warriors, but no proof of one Achilles. Yet story of his wrath endures, for it speaks truth deeper than fact, that anger can shape fate, that grief can move history, that compassion, fleeting, redeems, even ruin. The fires burn low, the plain is quiet. The war, though long, is far from end, but the rage of Achilles has changed it. The balance shifts, the climax nears, and you stand with it, listening, watching, remembering. As history and myth entwine, the plain before Troy is quiet, yet not with peace. It is the silence that follows storm, the pause before final blow. The Trojans have fled within walls, their courage shaken by return of Achilles. The Greeks, emboldened, stand upon field, their hearts fierce, their eyes on city. And in this silence, fate prepares to weave its darkest thread, the duel between Hector and Achilles. You walk within Troy, the streets tense, the people hushed. Priam sits in hall, his face pale, his beard trembling. Andromache holds child close, her eyes red with fear. Helen moves like shadow through corridors, her beauty dimmed by sorrow. All know what waits beyond gates. For Hector, Prince of Troy, champion of city, cannot hide within walls. He must face Achilles, though doom waits. The gates open, and Hector steps forth. His armor gleams, his helm plumed, his spear long. He walks steady, though heart pounds. His duty is not only to fight, but to show city he does not fear. He crosses plain, the dust soft beneath his sandals, the air heavy with heat. He looks toward Greek camp, and he sees Achilles striding forth. Achilles is flame. His armor, forged by gods, glows like sun, his shield vast, his spear tall, his eyes burning. His wrath is storm, his grief for Patroclus unhealed, his vengeance unbounded. He strides swift, each step thunder, each breath fire. The Greeks follow, silent, awed. The Trojans watch from walls, their hearts breaking. The two draw near, and silence deepens. Hector hesitates. His courage wavers. His feet falter. He turns. He flees, running round walls of Troy. 3 times he circles, Achilles pursuing, his steps swift, his breath hot. The people upon walls cry out, urging, pleading. The gods themselves lean down, watching, debating. Some urge Hector saved, others demand fate fulfilled. At last Hector stops. Perhaps Athena, disguised, deceives him. Perhaps pride stirs. Perhaps he knows running will not save. He lifts spear. He steadies breath. He faces Achilles. The plain holds its breath. Words are exchanged. Hector offers pact, that whichever falls, body be honored, return to kin. Achilles refuses, his wrath too fierce, his heart too hard, for Patroclus lies dead, and Hector slew him. No mercy, no pact, only vengeance. The spears fly. Hector casts first, but misses. Achilles hurls, guided by Athena, and it strikes true. Through throat it pierces. Hector falls, gasping, blood dark upon dust. His voice is weak, pleading once more for burial. But Achilles denies, his rage unsoftened. He lashes Hector's body to chariot, drags it across plain, dust rising, cries echoing. The Trojans upon walls scream. Andromache faints, Priam tears robes, Helen weeps. The city mourns, its heart torn. Achilles returns to camp, his grief for Patroclus mingled with fury. He lays Hector's body by ships, leaving it dishonored, dust-stained, unburied. His wrath is not yet spent, though victory feels hollow. For even vengeance cannot heal grief, cannot restore friend lost. Night falls. In Troy, mourning spreads. Women wail. Men beat breasts. Children cling to mothers. Andromache holds child, her tears endless. Priam sits silent, his heart shattered. Helen weeps, her voice soft, remembering kindness Hector once showed, for though she was cause of war, Hector never spoke harsh, never judged, always gentle. His loss is not only for family, but for all city. In Greek camp, fires burn. Warriors feast, praising Achilles, honouring his might. Yet shadows linger, for they see wrath has gone too far. Honour broken, gods offended. The body of Hector, dragged, shamed, defiled, is not act of hero, but of fury blind. Some whisper, uneasy, though none speak loud. The gods themselves stir. Apollo shields Hector's body from decay, protecting flesh from ruin. Zeus commands that body must be returned. That wrath must soften, that pity must rise. And so Priam, old king, dares journey. You walk with him through night. He leaves walls, crosses plain, enters Greek camp, unseen. Guided by Hermes, he reaches tent of Achilles. He kneels. He kisses hands that slew his son. His voice trembles as he begs, as he speaks not as king but as father. He asks for body, for mercy, for pity. Achilles looks upon him, and heart breaks. He sees in Priam his own father, Peleus, old and far away, soon to die without him. He sees his own fate, short and burning. He weeps. He lifts Priam. He embraces him. He returns, Hector's body, cleansed, wrapped, honoured. Together they mourn, father and foe, grief shared. For in war, even wrath yields to sorrow, even vengeance yields to pity. The Trojans bury Hector with honour. They light pyre, flames rising, smoke drifting, voices chanting. They mourn prince, warrior, son, husband, father. The city grieves, and for a moment war pauses. For Homer's Iliad ends not with fall of Troy, but with funeral of Hector, with mourning, not triumph, with sorrow, not victory. And you wonder, did such duel truly occur? Was there Hector, prince of Troy, who faced warrior of Greece? Was there Achilles, whose wrath burned brighter than all? Or are they symbols, figures woven from memory and myth? Archaeologists find walls, weapons, graves. They find warriors fallen, cities burned, but no names upon stones, no faces upon shields. Hector and Achilles live not in ruins, but in story. Yet, story itself is truth. For all wars have duels, all wars have champions, all wars have grief. Hector stands for duty, for courage, bound to home, for love of family. Achilles stands for wrath, for glory pursued, for sorrow unhealed. Their clash is not only of men, but of ideals, and so their duel endures, eternal, remembered. The night deepens. Fires flicker low, stars scatter above. Plain lies quiet. The war is not ended. But story of Hector and Achilles is told, echoing through centuries. And you stand with it, listening, watching, remembering. The years of war weigh heavily upon both sides. Troy's walls still rise, proud and unbroken, though blood has soaked the plain beneath them. The Greeks, though fierce, are weary. Their ships rot on the shore. Their men long for home. Their leaders quarrel. 10 years, so the poets say. The siege has lasted, and still no victory. The gods have chosen sides and shifted loyalties. Storms of wrath have passed. Heroes have fallen. Achilles himself lies dead, struck by arrow of Paris, guided perhaps by Apollo. The greatest champion of the Greeks has gone to shadow. Hector too lies in earth, mourned by Troy, his ashes mingled with smoke of funeral pyre. And still, the war continues. How then to end it? Not with spear or sword, not with chariot or shield, but with cunning, with deception, with mind, not muscle. You walk among the Greek camp by night. Fires burn low, men sleep upon mats, their dreams restless, their hearts heavy. But in one tent, a man sits awake, Odysseus of Ithaca, wily, patient, ever thinking. His eyes gleam in lamplight, his hands trace shapes in dust. He knows walls cannot be scaled, gates cannot be broken, courage cannot outlast stone. To win, he must trick, must deceive, must think beyond war. A thought comes. Sly as serpent, he whispers it to others. Menelaus, still burning for Helen. Agamemnon, weary yet proud. Nestor, wise with years. He speaks of gift, of offering, of wooden horse vast and hollow. Let us pretend retreat, he says. Let us build horse tall as tower. Leave it as sacred gift to Troy. Dedicate it to Athena. Hide within our best warriors. Let Trojans pull it inside, thinking victory theirs. Then, at night, we strike. The leaders listen. Some scoff, others nod. Yet Odysseus' voice is persuasive, his cunning trusted. At last, they agree. The horse shall be built. You walk among carpenters as dawn breaks. Axes bite into trees, saws rafts, hammers strike. The air smells of fresh wood, of sap, of pitch. Slowly shape rises. Vast frame of horse, its head proud, its flanks broad, its belly hollow. Wheels are set beneath, ropes fastened, beams joined. It towers above men, monstrous, unnatural, a marvel and a mystery. Within its belly, a chamber is carved, large enough for warriors to hide. There they will wait, breath held, bodies cramped, until night falls upon city. Among them will be Odysseus, Diomedes, Menelaus, and others, chosen for courage and craft. Their fate will lie in silence, in patience, in shadows. The horse is finished, gleaming with polish, carved with signs of Athena, painted with symbols of peace. To Trojans, it will seem sacred, holy, a gift of gods. To Greeks, it is trap, doom in wood. The Greeks prepare ruse. They burn tents, break huts, push ships into sea. Smoke rises, sails spread, Oars dip. The fleet vanishes beyond horizon, as if retreating at last, abandoning war. Only the horse remains, standing tall upon shore, and one man left behind, Sinon, cunning as Odysseus, brave as Actor. You stand upon plain as Trojans pour from gates. They see emptiness, deserted camp, ships gone, horse gleaming. They cry out with joy, believing victory theirs. They run to beach, surround horse, touch wood, marvel at size. Sinon is seized, dragged before Priam. He weeps, he pleads, his words honeyed with craft. He tells tale of Greeks, of quarrels, of sacrifice demanded, of his escape. He says horse is offering to Athena, built to atone, built to ensure safe voyage. He says it must be brought within city, or Greeks will lose favor of goddess. He lies, but his lies are sweet, his voice convincing. Priam listens, nods, believes. Yet, not all are fooled. Tleurachun, priest of Troy, steps forth, his face fierce, his voice loud. Beware Greeks. Even when they bring gifts, he cries. He hurls spear into horse's side, and hollow belly echoes with clang of hidden arms. The Trojans hear, yet they do not heed, for fate blinds when it must. Then omen strikes. 2 serpents rise from sea, their coils massive, their heads crowned with foam. They slither upon shore, their eyes burning, their tongues hissing. They seize Laocoon and his sons, crushing, strangling, devouring. The Trojans cry out, terrified. They see in this not warning, but sign. Laocoon punished for insult to sacred gift. The horse must indeed be holy. The gods themselves demand it brought within. The gates open wide. Ropes are tied. Men strain, wheels creak. Wood groans. Slowly, horse rolls across plain, through gates into city. Its shadow falls upon walls. Its bulk fills streets. Children laugh, touching wood. Women scatter flowers. Priests chant hymns. The people rejoice, believing war ended. Greeks gone, Troy saved. Night falls. Torches burn low, feasts are held, wine flows. Music drifts through streets, dancers whirl, laughter rings. The horse stands silent in square, massive, looming, its belly hiding doom. The Trojans grow drunk, their eyelids heavy, their voices slurred. They fall to sleep, one by one, their breath slow, their dreams sweet. Within horse, silence is thick. Warriors crouch, cramped, their armor heavy, their mouths dry, sweat beads upon brows, hearts pound. They wait, patient, aching, listening to muffled sounds of city. Hours crawl. Then at last, torch flares upon tower, the signal. The hatch opens. Rope uncoils. Odysseus climbs down, his feet soundless upon stone. Others follow, Diomedes, Menelaus, all chosen. They spread across city, knives drawn, torches in hand. They kill guards, open gates, signal fleet waiting beyond shore. For Greeks had not gone. They hid behind island, sails furled, oars ready. At signal they return, swift as storm. The gates are opened. The fleet surges in. Soldiers pour through streets, torches blazing, swords flashing. The city wakes to screams, to fire, to ruin. Troy falls, not by might of arms upon plain, but by trick of mind, by deception carved in wood. And you wonder, was there truly such a horse? Did Trojans really pull within walls, the engine of their own destruction? Or is it symbol, story to explain how impregnable city was taken? Perhaps Greeks built siege engine, perhaps tunnel, perhaps betrayal opened gates. The horse may be metaphor, memory shaped into marvel, yet in story, it lives, immortal, unforgettable. For the image is powerful, the gift that is curse, the victory that hides doom, the pride that blinds. It is lesson eternal. Beware gifts from foes, beware pride that clouds, beware fate that waits in silence. The night deepens, flames rise in city, screams echo, smoke drifts into sky. The horse stands still in square, silent, its purpose done. The gods look down, some pleased, some grieving. The war is over, the story near its end, and you stand with it, watching, listening, remembering. The city sleeps, the feasts are finished, the songs faded, the wine drained, the torches along the walls sputter low, their flames thin and tired. Troy, proud Troy, rests in its illusion of safety. The horse stands silent in the square, a shadow taller than any tower, a shape too large for dream, and within its belly, warriors hold their breath, waiting for moment that will turn sleep into ruin. The signal is given. A torch flares upon wall, faint but clear. The hatch opens, ropes lower, and men descend. Odysseus leads, his eyes sharp, his movements swift. One by one, warriors drop into square, their sandals silent upon stone. They scatter into darkness. Knives drawn, torches tucked beneath cloaks. Gates creak as bolts are lifted, chains loosened, bars pulled aside. Beyond walls, sea stirs, ships return, sails black against night. The gates open, the flood begins. Greek soldiers pour in, their cries sharp, their torches blazing. Within moments, silence of night shatters. Troy wakes not to dawn, but to fire. You walk through streets as chaos erupts. Houses blaze, their roofs collapsing, their beams groaning. Men stumble from sleep, seized before swords, struck down before shields. Women scream, clutching children, fleeing through alleys already choked with smoke. Priests race to temples, lifting hands in prayer, only to fall before bronze. The air fills with crackle of fire, clash of metal, cries of terror. The palace of Priam is stormed. The old king, white-bearded, trembling, flees to altar of Zeus, seeking sanctuary. His sons fall before him, cut down, their blood staining marble steps. Neoptolemus, son of Achilles, strikes him down even at altar, his body collapsing upon sacred ground. Priam dies in sight of gods, his city burning around him. Hecuba, queen of Troy, wails, her voice piercing smoke, her children dead, her city gone. Andromache is dragged from Hector's house, her child seized, hurled from tower, his cry cut short. Cassandra, gifted with sight no one believes, is torn from temple of Athena, her hands clutching altar, her eyes wide with visions of future that no longer matters. She is carried away, her cries ignored. Helen too walks through ruins, her beauty unmarked, her presence still luminous amid flames. Menelaus finds her, sword raised, rage hot. Yet as he looks upon her face, his hand falters. Her beauty binds still, her voice softens him. The sword lowers, her life spared. She will return to Greece, her role in story never forgotten. The horse remains in square, its flanks blackened by sparks, its purpose fulfilled. It is not burned, not broken, but left as symbol, a monument to cunning, to deceit, to downfall. The Trojans had embraced it as gift, and now it stands as grave marker for their folly. The fires rise higher, roofs fall, towers collapse, streets vanish beneath smoke. The walls that stood against 1,000 ships tremble from within, undone not by force, but by trick. The gates are shattered, the temples violated, the citadel aflame. Troy falls. You stand amid ruins. The heat fierce, the air choking. Flames lick sky, sparks drift like stars, smoke thickens. The cries of dying echo, mingled with clash of bronze, with crash of beams, with roar of fire. The city that had stood for centuries, rebuilt upon ruins of older selves, now becomes ruin again. The Greeks plunder. Gold, silver, bronze are seized. Statues toppled. Treasures carried to ships. Women are dragged as slaves, children torn from mothers. Elders struck down. The city's wealth, its pride, its spirit, are scattered like ashes upon sea. Yet, even victors pay price. For in their fury, they offend gods. Cassandra, dragged from temple, brings wrath upon Ajax who defiled her. Athena turns against Greeks, sending storms upon their return. Agamemnon, triumphant, will be slain by wife upon return. Odysseus will wander years, tormented by sea and fate. The sack of Troy brings victory, but victory sown with curses. You pause by River Scamander, its waters red, its banks lined with corpses. Once it flowed clear, feeding fields, sustaining life. Now it carries death, its current heavy with ash and sorrow. The plain that rang with jewels, that saw Hector and Achilles, that held games and councils, is now charnel ground. Priam's palace collapses, its cedar beams consumed, its treasures looted. The throne of kings, seat of dynasties, lies broken amid ash. The temples crack, their statues fall, their altars defiled. The walls themselves, though still standing, are empty, their gates shattered, their towers hollow. Troy is not merely conquered, it is unmade. And yet, within ruin, memory forms. The Greeks sail home, their ships heavy with plunder, their hearts weary with grief and triumph. But the story does not stay upon shore. It spreads, carried by survivors, sung by poets, remembered by generations. Troy falls, but in its fall, it rises immortal. You wonder, was it truly so? Did Greeks sack city with fire and sword, dragging women and children into slavery? Archaeology shows layers of Troy burned, walls collapsed, treasures looted, evidence of violence lingers in soil, bones charred, pottery shattered. Yet which war, which fire, which fall? Troy fell more than once, each ruin layered upon last. Was Homer's Troy one of these, or blend of many? The truth is buried, but story remains. And in story, the sack of Troy is more than history. It is symbol, it is fall of pride, betrayal of trust, price of war. It is reminder that cities, however strong, are fragile, that wealth invites envy, that beauty invites conflict. The night deepens. Flames consume last beams, smoke drifts higher, cries fade into silence. The city is gone, its people scattered, its spirit broken. Yet in silence, something endures. The story, the sack of Troy, sung for centuries, remembered as warning, as tragedy, as lesson. And you stand within it, listening to crackle of flames, breathing smoke of memory, watching walls dissolve into ash. The city of wonder is lost. Yet, in its loss, it becomes eternal. Troy is ash. The walls that stood against storm of bronze now crumble, their stones blackened, their gates splintered. Smoke coils into sky, carrying with it the voices of a city lost. Yet from ruin, some escape, scattered, broken, hunted, yet alive. Their footsteps carry Troy beyond its walls, into lands unknown, into centuries unborn. You stand among ruins at dawn. The fires smoulder, embers glowing faintly, the air thick with smoke and dust. Bodies lie where they fell, streets choked with rubble, but through wreckage move shadows, survivors, gathering what they can, clutching children, carrying bundles, seeking paths away from ruin. Their faces are streaked with ash, their eyes hollow, their voices hushed. Among them walks Aeneas, prince of Troy, son of Anchises, and goddess Aphrodite. His armor is dented, his cloak torn, yet his bearing noble. Upon his shoulders, he carries Anchises, his old father too frail to walk. At his side clings Ascanius, his young son, eyes wide, lips trembling. Behind him follow servants, comrades, women and children who still look to him as leader. Through smoke, Aeneas moves steady. His heart is heavy, his wife Creusa lost in chaos, her voice calling once before fading forever. He weeps, yet he walks for duty binds him. His line must endure, his people must survive, his city must live again in memory. You follow him as he leads group from gates, through plain littered with corpses, past river stained red, toward hills beyond. Each step is burden, each breath sorrow, yet they move, for behind lies ruin, before lies possibility. Other survivors scatter in different directions. Some are seized, enslaved, carried on ships to Greece. Some hide in caves, eking life from shadows. Some vanish into history, their names forgotten, their fates unknown. Yet a few, like Aeneas, become legend. The journey of Aeneas is long. He wanders seas, blown by storms, guided by omens, tested by trials. He lands upon Thrace, upon Crete, upon Sicily. He meets Dido, queen of Carthage, her heart stirred by love, her fate sealed by abandonment. He descends into underworld, sees shades of heroes, hears prophecy of Rome to come. His wanderings end not in Troy, but in Italy, where his line will give rise to Rome itself. Virgil, poet of empire, tells his story in Aeneid, shaping him as founder of greatness, ancestor of Caesars. Whether true or not, it matters little, for Romans believed, and in belief, story becomes history. Aeneid carries Troy upon his shoulders, not only Anchises, but spirit of city, transplanted into new soil. But he is not only one. Other survivors carve paths of their own. Antenor, wise counselor, sails north, said to found cities in Adriatic, his line remembered in legends of Venice. Helenus, seer and son of Priam, settles in Epirus, marrying Andromache, living shadow of Troy's life reborn. Some tales speak of Cassandra carried to Greece, her visions unheeded, her sorrow unending. Others of Polyxena, sacrificed upon tomb of Achilles, her blood mingling with soil of enemy. Each survivor bears fragment of Troy, scattering it like seeds upon winds. You walk with them across seas, through storms, along coasts, strange and wild. You hear their songs, mourning yet hopeful, their prayers to gods who seem both cruel and kind. They speak of home lost, yet dream of home to come. Their steps carve new paths, their voices weave new myths. The image of Aeneas lingers, strong yet sorrowful, burdened yet steadfast, father upon shoulders, son at hand. He becomes symbol of endurance, of duty, of future born from ashes. Where Achilles is wrath, Hector is honor, Odysseus is cunning, Aeneas is survival. He is memory carried forward, promise not yet broken. And you wonder, did survivors truly wander, founding new cities, giving rise to empires? Archaeology shows Troy rebuilt after fall, new settlements rising upon ruins. Refugees may have fled, seeking homes in other lands. Memory of Troy may indeed have spread, woven into stories of many peoples. Yet whether Aeneas was man or myth, his journey endures, shaping Rome, shaping world. You stand upon shore where ships depart. The sea stretches vast, the horizon wide, the wind sharp. Survivors climb aboard, their bundles small, their hopes fragile. They look back once at smoke rising from Troy, their eyes wet, their hearts breaking. Then they turn forward, faces to waves, voices whispering prayers. The ships move, their sails swelling, their oars dipping. The city fades behind, the smoke dissolves into sky. The horizon swallows ruins. Troy is gone, yet it lives, carried within them, in songs, in stories, in dreams. The night deepens, stars scatter above, constellations guiding wanderers. The sea sighs, steady, endless. The survivors drift across waters, their fate uncertain, their story eternal. And you stand with them, walking from ruin into myth, from ashes into legend. The flames of Troy fade into memory. The survivors scatter, their stories dissolving into myth. Poets sing, sculptors carve, playwrights retell. For centuries, the fall of Troy exists as song, as drama, as echo. But beneath the music of legend lies a question that will not rest. Was it real? You sit in a hall, centuries after fall. The voices no longer Homer's, but those of historians. Herodotus, father of history, speaks in measured tones. He says Troy was real, that Greeks did indeed wage war upon it, though details blur. He listens to priests of Egypt, to whispers of Asia, to songs of Greece, weaving them into narrative both curious and cautious. Thucydides, more stern, less forgiving, looks upon Homer's verses with skepticism. He says poets embellish, that songs inflate truth into glory. The war, he insists, was smaller than told. Ships fewer, heroes less, glory less bright. Yet he admits it happened, or something like it. He writes of men bound by oath, of Troy's wealth, tempting, of power drawing envy. For him the war was not about gods or beauty, but about resources, alliances, pride. You hear voices of others. Dares the Phrygian, said to be Trojan eyewitness, though his words written later, Dictys the Cretan, said to be Greek soldier, his chronicle claimed found in Roman time. Their tales differ from Homer, stripping away gods, leaving men only. They tell of strategies, treaties, councils, battles, more history than myth. Yet truth of their accounts is shadowed by centuries between event and pen. The Romans, inheritors of Aeneas's tale, never doubt. For them, Troy's fall is seed of their rise, its truth unquestioned, its memory honored. They trace line of emperors to Trojans, carving their destiny from ashes of Ilium. To them, Troy is not story but ancestry, not legend but foundation. The Middle Ages keep flame alive. Poets in France, in Britain, in Italy, retell tale, reshaping it for courts and kings. For them, Troy is mirror, its fall warning of pride, its heroes examples of virtue and vice. They place their own nations as heirs of Troy, Britons from Brutus, Franks from Francus. To claim descent from Troy is to claim nobility, to bind present to ancient past. But as centuries pass, question grows louder. Was Troy real? Was war fought? Or is it all song woven by Homer from dream? The ruins lie buried, unknown, their stones hidden beneath hills of Anatolia. Maps show only Ilium remembered faintly, its site uncertain. Scholars debate, argue, speculate. Some say Troy never was, only tale. Others say it was real, but lost. You walk with them, through halls of libraries, through pages of parchment, through arguments heated and endless. Some point to geography, the Hellespont, gateway to Black Sea, rich in trade. They say any city controlling straits would invite envy, war, destruction. Others point to memory, poems too detailed to be pure invention, echoes of reality hidden in verse. Yet others dismiss, saying, songs are songs, not chronicles. The debate lingers, unresolved, the truth buried beneath soil. For centuries, Troy is more myth than memory, more symbol than city. Travelers wander through Asia Minor, hearing local tales, standing upon mounds, wondering if beneath lies Ilium. But no spade touches earth, no ruins rise, no proof speaks, until modern age. But that is tale of Schliemann, of archaeology, of spade in soil. For now, in centuries between Homer and science, Troy is ghost, half believed, half doubted, eternal in imagination but absent in earth. You pause in this space, between myth and history, between song and soil. The search for real Troy is not only hunt for ruins, but reflection of human longing. We wish to know if story we tell is true, if beauty that caused war walked earth, if walls that defied heroes once stood. We crave proof, stones to match song, ruins to match verse. And you wonder, does it matter? If Troy never stood, the story still shapes us. If Troy was real, the story still reshapes truth. Perhaps the search itself is part of myth, part of need to bind past to present, story to stone. The night deepens. Scholars debate, poets sing, ruins lie hidden. The city waits, silent, buried, patient. And you sit within silence, listening to voices of past, waiting for spade to break soil, for stones to rise again. For centuries, Troy was voice without body, poem without stone. Homer sang, Romans claimed descent, medieval poets wove tales, but earth remained silent. The city seemed lost, dissolved into mist of myth. And then, in the 19th century, a man came with shovel in hand and dream in heart. His name was Heinrich Schliemann, and his quest was to find Troy. You stand with him upon wind-swept plain of northwest Anatolia. The Dardanelles glimmer in distance, waters narrow and swift, gateway between Aegean and Black Sea. Upon rise of land lies mound called Hisarlik, a hill of earth and stone, its slopes green, its top flat. To villagers nearby, it is just hill. To Schliemann, it is Ilium, city of Priam, treasure of Homer. Schliemann is not scholar by birth. He is merchant, self-made, his fortune built upon trade, his passion upon books. As child, he read Homer by candlelight, his heart burning with desire to see Troy with his own eyes. He swore then he would find it, and now, older, wealthy, determined, he sets spade to soil. The year is 1870. Schliemann hires workers, brings tools, sets camp. Day by day the spades dig, cutting into hill, lifting soil, tossing stone. Dust rises, sun burns, sweat pours. The mound is not simple earth, but layers upon layers, each city built upon ruin of last centuries stacked. Schliemann cuts deep, too deep, tearing through upper levels in haste for glory. Later scholars will criticize, saying he destroyed as much as he revealed, but his zeal blinds him. He seeks Priam, not patience. At last his men strike walls, stone blocks thick and solid, remnants of fortification. They uncover gates, towers, houses. They find pottery, tools, weapons. Layer upon layer emerges, city upon city. Schliemann names one Troy II, believing it Priam's city. He finds hoard of gold, silver, jewelry, which he calls Priam's treasure. He smuggles it away, dresses his wife Sophia in golden diadem, photographs her as Helen of Troy. The world gasps, imagines treasure of Homer unearthed. But truth is less simple. The treasure he found is older, from city long before Homer's age. Priam's Troy lies not in Troy II, but in Troy 6 or 7, later layers of mound. Yet even if mistaken, Schliemann's spade proves one thing. Beneath myth lies city. Troy is not dream, but place. Not only song, but stone. Archaeologists, after him, dig with greater care. Wilhelm Dörpfeld, his assistant, refines layers, identifies Troy VI, its walls massive, towers strong. Later, Carl Blegen, of Cincinnati, excavates further, finding Troy VII, showing signs of fire, of siege, of bodies in houses, of jars filled as if for emergency. Here, perhaps, lies memory of Homer's tale, a city destroyed in war, its people slain or enslaved. You walk through ruins they uncover, walls of stone some 6 meters thick, slanting inward, cunningly built to resist quake. Gates with towers, streets paved, houses clustered. The citadel rises, commanding plain, its view stretching to sea. You touch stone, rough, weathered, yet firm. You feel weight of centuries, of lives lived and lost. Archaeology continues through 20th century, each spade turning myth to memory. Scholars debate still, which layer was Homer's Troy? Was it Troy VI, grand but felled by quake, or Troy VII, humbler but burned by war? Was Homer's tale memory of both, blended? The debate remains, but certainty is clear. There was a city, there were walls, there was fire. You pause in museum where artifacts gleam, pots painted with spirals, bronze swords green with age, beads of lapis, diadems of gold. They are small things, yet together they whisper of lives real, of people who walked, who ate, who prayed, who died. They are Trojans. Whether of Homer or not, their memory pulled from earth by Schliemann's dream. Yet, Schliemann himself is figure of contradiction. He is visionary and vandal, discoverer and destroyer. His zeal uncovered Troy, but his haste cut through layers, erasing as much as he revealed. His treasure smuggled, his claims exaggerated, his methods crude. Yet, without him, Troy might still lie buried, myth without stone. He gave it body, though imperfect. The spade has continued after him, century by century, refining, correcting, uncovering. Modern excavations at Hisarlik, led by scholars from Turkey, Germany, America, continue to peel layers, each city numbered, each layer mapped. They show Troy not as single city but as 9, built one atop another, spanning thousands of years. They show trade with Aegean, with Anatolia, with Black Sea. They show wealth, power, pride. They show fall, fire, ruin. And so the search for real Troy is not only tale of Schliemann but of science itself, of patient spade, of careful brush, of soil yielding truth. It is reminder that myth may hide fact, that story may preserve memory, that beneath poem lies pottery. You stand upon mound of Hisarlik as sun sets. The wind sweeps across plain, the sea glimmers. The stones glow red, birds wheel above, shadows lengthen. Beneath your feet lie centuries, stacked deep. Each layer city, each city story. Priam, Hector, Helen may never have stood here as sung. But people did, walls did, fire did. That is truth enough. And you wonder, does it matter if Homer's tale is precise? Or is it enough that beneath myth lies memory, beneath story lies stone? Perhaps truth of Troy is both, history shaped into song, song preserving history. The night deepens, the ruins rest, silent, ancient, enduring. The spade has spoken, but story lingers still. Troy is both city of earth and city of mind, both ruin and legend, both past and eternal. And you stand with it, listening to silence, feeling weight of centuries, remembering dream of child who read Homer by candlelight and dug until song became stone. The ruins lie silent. The mound of Hisarlik, windswept and golden in dusk, rests beneath circling birds, stones half buried in earth, whisper of walls once proud, gates once strong, towers once gleaming. Archaeology has given body to legend, yet the question lingers, where does history end, and where does myth begin? You stand between them, at threshold where song meets soil. Troy is both stone unearthed by spade and story sung by poet. Neither alone tells whole truth. Together they weave tapestry eternal. The poets gave us faces, Achilles, fierce and wrathful, Hector, noble and doomed, Helen, radiant and tragic, Priam, aged and grieving, Odysseus, cunning and restless. They live in verses, in dramas, in paintings, in marble. They are archetypes, larger than life, yet within them lies human truth, wrath, honor, beauty, grief, cunning. These are real, eternal, human. Whether or not they walked upon Troy's walls, they walk still in us. The spade gave us stones. Walls slanting inward, 6 meters thick, streets paved with stone, houses clustered, jars filled with grain, weapons of bronze, bones of men, fires burned, towers collapsed, people died. This too is truth, less poetic but no less powerful. A city stood, a city fell, that is history. Between them lies memory, shaped and reshaped. Greeks remembered war as moment of unity, of glory, of sorrow. Romans remembered it as their beginning, their destiny born from ashes. Medieval kingdoms remembered it as ancestry, binding their lines to ancient nobility. Modern nations remember it as bridge between East and West, myth and archaeology. Each age finds Troy anew, remakes it in own image, retells it for own need. And you wonder, why Troy? Why this story, above others, endures? Perhaps because it is not only tale of war, but of everything war contains. Love and loss, pride and folly, courage and cruelty, fate and choice. It is mirror of human life, showing beauty and sorrow entwined. The gods too linger in memory. Though we no longer pray to Athena or Apollo, their presence in story remains. They remind us that humans once saw divine in every storm, every battle, every passion. They remind us that our struggles feel larger than ourselves, shaped by forces beyond. Whether gods real or not, they embody truth, that war is never only of men, but of powers greater, be they fate, nature, or ambition. You stand upon plain as sun sets. You see ships upon shore, their sails furled, their oars still. You see walls in distance, their towers proud, their gates shut. You hear clash of bronze, cries of warriors, wail of women. You see fire rise, smoke curl, shadows flee. Then you blink, and it is gone. Only ruins remain, quiet, broken, enduring. The plain is empty, the sea calm, the air still. This is how memory works. It shifts, it fades, it returns. It shows us image, then removes it. It leaves us with silence, yet within silence, story stirs again. The Trojan War may have been small skirmish, a raid upon city for wealth and power, or it may have been greater, siege that shook region, echoing for generations. It may have been many wars remembered as one. It may have been none at all, only story woven to explain ruins seen by later eyes. The truth is uncertain, but uncertainty does not weaken story, it strengthens it, for it invites us to wonder, to imagine, to see. And so Troy lives between myth and memory. You wander through centuries. In Athens, playwrights retell tale upon stage, their voices booming in amphitheatres, their words echoing against stone. In Rome, Virgil sings of Aeneas carrying Troy to Italy, birthing empire. In medieval courts, poets tell of Brutus, founding Britain from Trojan blood. In Renaissance, painters fill canvases with Helen, with Hector, with flames of city. In modern time, archaeologists kneel in soil, brushing dust from stones, lifting shards of pottery, holding fragments of past. Each age claims Troy, each age shapes it anew, and in each telling, truth shifts. Sometimes Helen is victim, sometimes betrayer, sometimes Achilles is hero, sometimes brute, sometimes gods are present, sometimes absent, sometimes war is noble, sometimes folly, yet always Troy falls, always walls burn, always memory endures. You pause, and you breathe. You realize Troy is not only city of stone, but city of story. It exists wherever told, wherever imagined, wherever remembered. It is place in mind, in heart, in culture. Its stones may crumble, but its story never dies. The night deepens. Stars scatter across sky. Constellations wheeling as they did above warriors long ago. The sea sighs against shore, timeless, endless. The ruins rest, silent, enduring, and you stand with them, between myth and memory, listening to both, holding both. For that is Troy, not only what was, but what is told. Not only history, not only legend, but both entwined, eternal. The story has been told. The fires of Troy have burned, the walls have fallen, the survivors have wandered into legend. The spade has uncovered stones, the poets have sung their verses, the scholars have debated their truths, and now the tale rests, quiet again, waiting for the next voice to wake it. You can let it rest too. The journey has been long, across seas and plains, through halls and ruins, through songs and silence. You have walked beside warriors and poets, kings and wanderers, gods and mortals. Their voices fade now, softer and softer, dissolving into night. The plain before Troy is empty. No armies march, no chariots thunder, no torches blaze. Only grass sways in breeze, only river glimmers beneath stars, only sea sighs steady against shore. The ruins lie still, their stones cool, their shadows long. The past has quieted, and you can quiet too. Your breath slows, your body softens, your thoughts ease. The story will wait, as it always has. Patient across centuries, you need not hold it tight. You can let it drift, like ship upon gentle tide, like ember fading into ash, like dream dissolving at dawn. Close your eyes if they are not closed already. Let darkness be kind. Let silence be steady. You are safe, you are carried, you are at rest. The Trojan War, whether myth or history, whether song or stone, has given its echo tonight. Now it yields to quiet, to stillness, to sleep. Good night. Sweet dreams.